Hi, everyone. Now that we are waiting on this heavily anticipated trial of Miss Suitcase Sarah Boone, when will it ever happen? If it ever does, it's been pushed back so many times. She's been through so many attorneys. Latest update is that she will be in trial on October the 2nd. So we'll just see if that happens, right? Anyway, if it does, I'm going to be live streaming it. My understanding is they are definitely live streaming it on Court TV. So that's good news. So, but we hope that you guys come and join us to watch it here on our channel. I have in front of me an arrest affidavit from July 25th of 2018. The defendant, did y'all like the way I said that? The defendant, I couldn't help it. I'm so sorry. Okay. The defendant, Sarah Catherine Boone. Let's see if there is an offenses aggravators co-defendant is Jorge Torres Jr., aka George, which is the man that she is currently in jail awaiting charges or awaiting trial for his homicide. Charges allegedly of his homicide. Let's make the record clear. So here we're going to read the narrative, which always gives us the good juicy portions of what happened, okay? On July 25th of 2018, at approximately 1:52 hours, I responded to Tillwood Park Apartments, reference to a male kicking a female in the eye. I later determined this to be aggravated battery by strangulation and battery case, both being dating violence. Upon my arrival, I spoke to Sarah Boone. Sarah verbally stated she was at an unknown bar earlier in the evening when she asked an unknown male for a cigarette. Her boyfriend, George, of a year and a half, became upset since she was talking to another male and left the bar. They both went back to their residence and continued verbally arguing. Sarah was dragged upstairs by George and was kicked in her right eye, using his right heel. Oof. Goodness. Sarah was unable to describe how she fell to the ground or how she was dragged upstairs by George. Sarah refused medical treatment. Sarah refused to write a statement and or sign any dating violence paperwork. After I spoke to Sarah, I spoke to George, and George verbally stated that they were both at their residence, verbally arguing and have been consuming alcohol, which we all know after giving this case the minimal attention is their biggest mistake ever is their consumption of alcohol. They have been dating for 1.5 years and residing together for a year and 2 months. George admitted to going upstairs to avoid Sarah. While George was walking upstairs, Sarah reached towards George's throat using both of her hands. Sarah placed both of her hands around George's throat and applied pressure to the extent that George was having difficulty breathing. George was sitting on the steps and started kicking towards Sarah in an attempt to get her off of him. George believes he might have kicked Sarah in her face, but was not sure. George believed that if he did not kick Sarah off of him, she would have made him incapacitated due to being strangled. Does that kind of give you chills knowing what happened later on? George refused medical treatment. George also refused to write a statement and or sign any dating violence paperwork. Both Sarah and George stated they have been dating for approximately 1 year and 6 months and residing together for approximately 1 year and 2 months. The left side of George's neck had red markings and small abrasions that is consistent with strangled. Sarah's right eye is bruised and swollen from receiving an impact, and both Sarah and Jorge allowed, uh, it looks like Detective Ramirez Delgado, to take pictures of their injuries. Delgado later uploaded the pictures And Sarah and Jorge received a victim's right booklet with my name and case number, along with a photo injunction referral. Due to conflicting statements and injuries on both Sarah and George, I was unable to determine who the primary aggressor was. I placed both of them under lawful arrest and searched. Jorge was placed, or George, was placed into the back seat of my patrol car, and Sarah was placed into the back seat of Diaz Ramirez Delgado's patrol car. I informed both Sarah and George the charges that are being placed against them, which they stated they understood. Due to both parties refusing to write statements and or signing any domestic violence documents, I was unable to complete a victim's request of confidentiality form, authorization for release of confidential information form, and written statements. Both parties stated they don't want to testify and or prosecute against each other. Both Sarah and George were transported to the Orange County Booking and Receiving Center. George was booked and charged for battery, and Sarah was booked and charged for aggravated battery by strangulation. Both Sarah and George stated they do not own any firearms, and my body worn camera was activated. Ugh, would you guys not love to get a hold of that? I mean, really? But to my understanding, it's not available. Ooh, I should ask for it. Let's see if I can get it. I know with Orange County, you got to write in and request the stuff, so I bet it takes a lot longer to get it from them. Let's see. What I find interesting about this is who called the police, because it says that they responded to a reference of a male kicked a female in the eye, which makes me think that she was the one who called the police. Because, sometimes when the police came and checked on them, it was because the neighbors reported it. So that's that report. Let's keep going. I swear sometimes I want to type in Suitcase Sarah. I only saw like a couple of things on her though. Her arrest affidavit. Oh, no, maybe I'm wrong. All right, let's open this up. Share this tab. Okay. Is this the same one? Yeah. Okay. So this was 225 of 2020. Oh, no, this is the one where she got arrested for his unaliving. I gotta say, guys, do we know yet whether or not they're going to bring in her previous charges for the domestic? They've got to be able to bring that in. I mean, it's just too close to the circumstances of what occurred here for them not to be able to bring that in. And I feel like once a jury sees that, they're going to be like, well, But then they're also going to be able to say, okay, yeah, but was she defending herself? Because it sounds like they were both abusive. But in that other one that we read a while ago, it sounds like she's the aggressor. She goes after him just as much as he goes after her. Okay, let's see. Maybe she's the abuser, though, in the whole thing. Maybe he's never been the aggressor. It could be possible. I mean, who would know the answers to all this, you guys? Her ex-husband, who seems like a nice guy because he's kept his mouth shut, but he's no longer with her for one reason or another. And if she was doing it to George, I can guarantee you she was doing it to her ex-husband. Once an abuser, always an abuser. All right, let's read this really quick. Ton of it is redacted, but let's do our things, chicken wings, and see what we got here. Oh, it's very large now. On February 24th of 2020, Orange County deputies responded to that's her address in reference to a female reporting that her boyfriend, Jorge Torres Jr., was deceased. The caller, later identified as Sarah Boone, or AKA Suitcase Sarah, reported playing a game of hide and seek. Sarah and George jokingly thought it would be funny if George got into the suitcase located in the living room. Sarah dipped George in the suitcase. Sarah mentioned that she and George had been consuming alcohol during the night, and she went upstairs and passed out in her bed. She later woke up to her cell phone ringing multiple times around 11 a.m. I think that's or 1100 hours. She went downstairs and did not see Jorge anywhere in the apartment. She then realized that he was possibly still inside the suitcase. Sarah unzipped the suitcase and found Jorge unresponsive. Jorge, George, whatever. I'm going to use both names because I'm just not sure. Unresponsive for not breathing. I'm sorry, let me restate that. Sarah unzipped the suitcase and found Jorge George unresponsive and not breathing. Shortly after the 911 call, deputies arrived on scene. Orange County Orange County Fire Department confirmed that Jorge was in fact deceased at 13:07 hours. The decedent was found lying near the front door of the residence near a blue suitcase. So she had taken him out of the suitcase at that point, I guess. A small laceration was evident on the descendant's lip and what happened to be some bruising around his eye. The interview with Sarah Boone on February 24th of 2020 with Detective Scott Lowen and I conducted an audio recorded interview with Sarah Boone located in my unmarked agency vehicle outside her residence located there. The following is a synopsis of her sworn statement. I read the verbatim to Sarah, her constitutional Miranda right warnings. So that was that one cop, that first cop that responded. And we've got bits and pieces of that. I've got a video on when they did that whole thing walking around the outside of her apartment when they were coming and going. Sarah gave verbal and written consent by signing a waiver and affidavit form for the Orange County Sheriff's Office to search her iPhone. Digital forensic investigator Janella Udon responded to the scene and began to download the cell phone. While the cell phone was being downloaded, 2 videos were found on the cell phone. The first video began recording on February the 24th at 23:12 hours. George reportedly yelling out Sarah's name. Sarah told George, "For everything you've done to me, F you." Sarah was laughing when she said F you. Stupid. Jorge repeatedly kept calling out Sarah's name, and Jorge, George, Sarah, I can't effing breathe. Seriously? Yeah, that's what you do when you choke me, she says. He continued to repeat himself, telling Sarah that he could not breathe, and Sarah said, "That's on you." Oh, that, yeah, we've seen that one. That's what I get when what you feel like when you cheat on me. That part right there is probably the most damning part, guys. Oh, that's what I feel like when you cheat on me. Because let's say they go in there with the whole defense of, he was battering her and, which we do believe that is going to be the case, right? So this one statement right here is going to stand out because her anger at the time, while intoxicated, was not just that he was domestically abusive to her, but he also cheated on her. And I just think that's a big deal. Are you guys picking up what I'm laying down? Okay. You should probably shut the F up, she says in the video, and Suitcase was facing downward, and you could see him pushing on the suitcase in an attempt to get out. The video is 2 minutes and 3 seconds long, and the second video began recording on February 24th of 2020 hours. It doesn't say. He's yelled out her name. The suitcase was now in a different position, facing upwards, and moved over towards the left side of the living room. See, this is where this is the part I don't understand. Somebody mentioned something about a suitcase and how, mentioned a staircase and the fact that the suitcase was pushed down a staircase, but I don't know where the staircase would be in the living room inside the apartment. I guess if it's a townhome, they started upstairs and then she pushed him down the staircase. But all of the pictures or the video that they have of her doing all this and saying this stuff to him, it's from you could see the kitchen in the background. So to me, I don't understand that whole piece and how it fits in together. We'll find out at court, I guess, but okay. Follow-up interview with Sarah. I'm not reading about his autopsy. We are not going there. Follow-up interview with Sarah. It's approximately 1,500 hours, and Sarah drove herself to the Orange County. We've seen that. We've seen that in full. Most of you have probably watched it more than once. It was not intentional. Based on Sarah's inconsistent statements on what occurred and the videos found on Sarah's iPhone, I believe probable cause exists to charge her with second-degree murder. Jorge Torres Jr. is dead, and his death was caused by Sarah Boone's criminal act. Sarah zipped Jorge in the suitcase to where he could not get out. George begged Sarah repeatedly, telling him he could not breathe, and Sarah left him in the suitcase. Therefore, proves the unlawful killing of George by Sarah's actions that were imminently dangerous and demonstrated a depraved mind without regard for his life. Oh, no, that's not her. I do want to see this timeline though. Hang on. But in the Sam house, this is a different Sarah Boone. That's a different case. Okay. Hang on. But what I was looking at was now her middle initial is K, so it's not this Sarah M. Boone. Looks like that's it on here. History of Boone County. Oh dang, y'all. What other cases do I need to look up while I'm in this website? I got 30 days. Drop it like it's hot in the comments, please. I need to figure out what I need to look up because I don't want to have to pay for this to view it. Okay, I'm tired, y'all. I've got to go to the grocery store. I got to go clean the pool, and then I've got to cook dinner tonight. So I'm going to go for now. And you guys have a blessed day and a very good week, and I will talk to you soon. Thanks for listening.